Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw results and main event spoilers. Also, birthdays. Great Muda turned 54 on December 23rd. Also, Eric Cannon turned 35. Juventud Guerrero, aka Eduardo Anibal Gonzalez Hernandez, turned 43. December 22nd birthday, Luke Gallows, was born in 1983. Jamie Noble is born December 23rd, 1976. Raka Khan, December 25th, Christmas Day of 1982. Rusev, December 25th, 1985. And Dennis Knight, a.k.a. Midian, was born on December 26th. Gorgeous George, the real name of George Wagner, died of a heart attack on December 26, 1963, at the age of 48. Also, Dennis Knight, Midian, also worked as Phineas Godwin and Tex Slazenger. The late Mark Starr, aka Mark Ashford Smith, was born December 26, 1962, died of heart attack June 7, 2013. Real name of Rusev, Miroslav Barnyachev, turned 31. Wildcat Chris Harris turned 43 on Sunday. Brad Anderson turned 47 on Saturday. Chris Hero, a.k.a. Chris Spradlin, turned 37 on Saturday. And dark match main event. Advertised for a Raw event was Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns versus Rusev. Stay tuned for news on if those matches even happen. WWE looked at Samoa Joe and John Cena training together and competing together again at California's Ultimate Pro Wrestling years ago before they entered WWE or TNA at this late. Also, did you know that Cena and Samoa Joe trained together? I didn't know that. George Tragos, Luthez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, issued the following press release to announce the induction of Paul Orndoff and Dusty Rhodes at the annual ceremony in Waterloo, Iowa. The two of professional wrestling's most memorable figures will be inducted into the George Tragos Luthez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, as Paul Orndoff and Dusty Rhodes will be inducted into the 2017 Tragos Luthez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame induction weekend on July 20th through the 22nd. Hall of Fame weekend continues to build every year, as said Jerry Briscoe, 2005 inductee and president of the selection committee. I'm excited that Paul and Dusty will be recognized for their significant achievements in professional wrestling. This is a huge honor for both, as Paul Orndoff made his wrestling debut in 1976 with stints in Continental Wrestling Association, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Southeastern Championship Wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Mid-South Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndoff made his WWE debut in 1984 and participated in the original WrestleMania main event against Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. Following his stint in the WWE, he competed in WCW and Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Orndoff was also a football standout at the University of Tampa before a one-year stint in World Football League. Dusty Rhodes, of course, made his professional wrestling debut in 1967. During the 1970s, he competed for the AWA, WWF, and throughout the NWA territories, where he was a three-time NWA champion known as the American Dream. Rhodes left the NWA in 1990, returned to the WWE with rivalries with Big Boss Man, Macho Man Randy Savage, and the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. After winding down his in-ring career, Rhodes was involved behind the scenes with NXT, where he helped train the new generation of competitors. Rhodes played football for West Texas State, and in the Continental Football League. He passed away on June 11th, 2015. National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Dan Gable Museum will release winners of the Luthez World Heavyweight Championship Award, Frank Gotch Award, George Tragos Award, and Jim Delby Award in 2017, probably at that Hall of Fame ceremony. The next Ring of Honor event will be January 14th in Atlanta, Georgia, at center stage for the first television taping of 2017. The next Evolve dates are January 27th and 28th in San Antonio, Texas at Woodlawn Lake Park Gym. The next NXT date is January 5th for the first television taping of 2017 from Winter Park, Florida at Full Sail University. I've been in that city competing for Team USA qualifications back in the day for bowling. TNA is taping on January 5th through the 11th in Orlando, Florida at Universal Studios. Former TNA performer Andy Douglas now works as a chiropractor. His name is Dr. Andy Roberts of Nashville, Neck and Back. And here's a link for that. I think he's doing like a infomercial or commercial. Well, they finally got the results for Chyna's death. It was due to a complication of drugs and alcohol. Pro Wrestling Street reported that the autopsy of the WWE alumni is complete with the test finally in. And the LA County medical examiner determined that she died in an accident, no matter, by the combined effect of drugs and alcohol. Chyna had reportedly been drinking heavily before her passing due to a variety of reasons, including her poor relationship with WWE. She died in April at the age of 46. Thanks to Raj Girl, Raj Guri _303 on Twitter, who interviewed Drew Galloway as he comments on his contract in TNA. We, Galloway and TNA, are talking and trying to figure things out, as Galloway said. I'd be lying if I said that there wasn't some offers there that I really have to think about. I have to consider my future and my family's future. I am only 31, but due to his recent injury, I really gave him a little fright. Galloway noted that he's happy with his relationship with TNA and being allowed to work for other companies as well. But he does understand that why some companies require exclusivity. He said he knows what the right thing to do is, but he's got to figure out details. Galloway was asked if he had spoken to someone with the 3 H's in his name. I can't say anybody I'm talking to, he said with a laugh. Every company, including TNA, has done so much for me. We just have to speak and work things out so that it works for everybody. I have spoken to some people, but there's only so much you can think about when you're under contract with certain people. I can't go into details beyond this, and I hope things work out that way. I'm wanting them to work out. Well, Ryback has his own blog, whatever it's called. And it's called Conversation with the Big Guy. This is episode 16 link of Conversation with the Big Guy. Former WWE superstar Ryback talked about the debut of the Nexxus, as well as why the angle was dropped. During the podcast, Ryback stated that the Nexxus was a great, albeit underutilized faction. None of us knows what was going to happen with our careers, but we know we're going to be a faction called the Nexxus. And for a lot of the WWE universe, a lot of fans, they loved it. It was a great faction and it was underutilized. Ryback added that Wade Barrett was a mental leader. I was a physical leader. I always kind of put it as that. And I felt like that came across very well with the dynamic of the group that we had. I felt like people got that. I felt like we both played our roles perfectly in that, and that's why, a big part of why that all worked, along with everybody else that added their contributions, such as Justin Gabriel, who's now going under PJ Black, was a high flyer, and Gabriel was a huge part of it too. I feel, and everybody had their own role. According to Ryback, John Cena killed the Nexxus angle because Big Match John did not like that 8 talents were getting over naturally. Moreover, the big guy said that what happened was a result of having a non-competition star in WWE's top spot. It was not used properly, mainly because of John Cena. Effing marks. That's your headlines for the effing week, and that's a fact across the board. Everybody knows it, and it did not want to go any further than what it was going to go past because it was working, because it was 8 guys getting over naturally. That's why, God forbid, guys get over naturally. Ryback then continued that that's what happens when you get a non-competitive athlete in a top position who's not used to competing in real life. That's what happens. Well, Cody Rhodes had something to say on something that happened on Raw. Not going to say something mean or blow a whistle. All I can say is that whoever produced that, I hope they never know what this feels like. And we'll comment a little segment about the tearing of a little Dusty Rhodes Dusty Rhodes teddy bear doll. Segment with Bailey backstage. Ring of Honor star Scarlett Bordeaux made her WWE Raw debut on the show from Chicago on Monday night. Wearing a Sasha Banks t-shirt, Scarlett was interviewed by Charlie Caruso at ringside before losing in a quick squash match to Nia Jax. The video link is twitter.com/WWE. In Scarlett's hometown, Chicago. Former WWE champion Batista wrote the following in response to a fan who tweeted about a possible Batista vs. Rock match at WrestleMania 33 with actor Vin Diesel as a special guest referee. Well, the fan name at Joshua Osei commented at The Rock versus at Dave Batista at WWE hashtag WrestleMania 33. What are the chances of that? 1-on-1 special guest ref hashtag Vin Diesel at Triple H. Possible? Well, Dave Bautista on Twitter said, the cheese factor is in. What? And that would be way too strong? Along the lines of Limburger, awful scent of sulfur, and Fast and Furious. That's all he had to say. Well, Enzo Amore on Twitter commented on this. Well, at WWE All Day 21, sensitivity class, my butt. Rusev and swipe left, no backbone. HYD, boneless. What should I say? HYD. I forgot what I put. Why I put HYD on there. Well, how you doing? That's what it is. Boneless. How you doing? Chicken tenders. How you doing? And I'll show you a picture of that as well. A Big Show commented on Twitter, holiday rest. Ha. It's almost at WrestleMania season. You ready, Shaq? Get in the gym. On the hashtag. And I think I got a picture of that as well for you. As Big Show tweeted the following. The prior, as what I was just saying, as he prepared to face NWA legend Shaq at WrestleMania 33. And the spoilers for main event episode, Tony Nese defeated Lince Dorado, and Titus O'Neil defeated Darren Young. Well, it looks like they're going back to that. Former tag team partners. Prime time players. Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. That was their theme music. Well, Raw opened up with a live to Columbus as Pyros goes off. The Chris and Kevin show start off the show. Universal Champion Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho already in the ring with mics in hand. Welcome to the Chris and Kevin show, Owens says. He talks about doing whatever it takes to keep his title, including a code breaker from Jericho. Jericho tells the monkeys in the back to roll the photo. Stills from from Roadblock pay-per-view. And we see footage of Jericho interfering during the Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns main event and giving Owens a code breaker to set up the disqualification win for Owens to retain the title. Back live, Jericho calls that beautiful baby. Owens says he has to admit that when Jericho showed up in the ring, he wasn't sure what he was going to do. He said the Universal Championship is right where it belongs. Jericho was giving the code breaker. That code breaker hurt him more than it hurt Owens. He says he had to trick everyone. Jericho extended his arms and brings Owens in for a big hug. They talk about Santa Claus, and Jericho calls him a stupid idiot. I guess he's got a lump of coal for Christmas. Jericho, it might have came out of his butt. I guess it would, well, I'll leave it at that, because it probably turned into Nyman after being with Kurt Angle. Jericho accused Santa of stealing his gimmick by using a list. He informed Santa that he just made the list. Mick Foley interrupted and said Jericho can't talk that way about Santa. He talks about Santa knowing when people are naughty and nice, and how Jericho has been very naughty. As Mick wanted to look back at Roadblock, where Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns put Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho through announce tables after the match. Back live, Foley said that this is known as payback. Owens refers to himself as a national treasure and how his career could have ended. Jericho calls Foley's leather jacket stupid. Foley takes off the jacket to reveal a biker Santa long sleeve shirt, saying this is actually more stupid. He tries to go for a cheap pop, saying right here in Pittsburgh when we were actually in Columbus. Foley corrects himself and Jericho says everyone knows Pittsburgh is better than Columbus anyways. He advertises a tag team match against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins tonight. Foley also plugs that Santa has brought us a gift all the way from the North Pole. A small cage lowers inside the ring. Foley books a rematch between Owens and Reigns for the Universal Championship, where Jericho will be placed inside a small cage hanging above the ring. Jericho doesn't think that the cage is safe. Foley tells Jericho to get inside to prove it is safe. Foley starts opening up his fanny pack and can't find a key. Cage starts to raise up. Jericho yells at Owens to save him. Foley tells the guys that he's in the back to work. The guys in the back to work on getting a key for the cage. Until then, have a nice day, adds Foley. We see a still shot of Jericho hanging above the ring. Commercial break backstage. We see Jericho being given oxygen and complaining about how high the cage was over the ring. Kevin Owens tells him to calm down and says he needs to get ready for the tag team match against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Big Cass with Enzo versus Rusev with Lana. Before the match, we hear Enzo, Amore, and Big Cass. Enzo does the usual introduction. Cass says Rusev took the coward's way out at Roadblock. Goes for Rusev in the corner. Away with body shots. Well, I do apologize. The previous results was from last week's Raw. I still had it from last week's event on there mixed within this week. Well, the final Raw of 2016 opened up with a look back from Braun Strowman from last week. We got the Raw opening video live from Chicago as Michael Coleslaw welcomes us. He's joined in by Corey Graves and Byron Saxon on commentary. We go right to the ring. Out comes Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie welcomes us. Fan chant for CM Punk. Of course, Mick Foley's not there. He had surgery. Stephanie says if they can keep that up for 2 minutes and 15 seconds longer, they'll last 1 second longer than CM Punk did in his MMA fight. Stephanie goes on, but the music interrupted, and out comes Seth Rollins. Rollins wants Triple H, but that's not happening tonight because he's running the company. Rollins says he came for a fight but wants Braun Strowman tonight. This brings out WWE United States Champion Roman Reigns. Fans boo and have some please don't talk at Reigns. More Punk chants. Reigns also wants Braun. Rollins tells him to get in the back of the line, but they get hype about teaming up and taking out Braun like they used to do. Stephanie mentions SmackDown being in the same building tomorrow and certain someone being in the arena. Stephanie proposes a one-night rematch. One night, Reigns versus an opponent of her choosing with the title on the line. Stephanie says that we're going to kick off Raw with a tag team title rematch right now. Music hits, out comes Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston to a pop. And they get their rematch against Sheamus and Cesaro. Back from a commercial break, out comes Raw Tag Team Champions Cesaro and Sheamus. It will be Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston representing New Day tonight. The match starts off with Kofi and Woods unloading on Sheamus with double team moves to take control. Cesaro comes back in to regain control, and we cut to a commercial with Woods selling a leg injury on the floor. Back from the break, Cesaro and Sheamus end up retaining after a few close calls by the New Day. Still to come, Rollins and Strowman, plus a look at Brock Lesnar and Goldberg saga being added into the first participants in the Royal Rumble. Back from the break, and the announcers lead us into a Royal Rumble promo on Goldberg and Lesnar. Goldberg will be here next week. I also heard that Kurt Angle will be added to that Rumble. Braun Strowman was walking backstage when he encountered Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Apparently, they were looking for Braun. They try to get Braun focused on Reigns and Rollins, but it almost backfires as Braun gets in Jericho's face. Braun walks off. We go to Goldust and R-Truth backstage. Bayley walks up and has a late Christmas present for Goldust. This was a segment that Cody Rhodes wasn't too happy with, as R-Truth asks if they can share. Bayley offers him a hug and he takes it. Bayley gives Goldust a Dusty Rhodes teddy bear and says she wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the dream. Bayley says she owes Dusty everything and loves him. Goldust says he loved her too. We hear fans chanting for Dusty in the arena. Bayley ends up leaving, and in comes Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. They knock the Golden Truth and the teddy bear, and gets the teddy bear out of Goldust's hands, tears the head off, and they leave. That's the part that Cody was not too happy about. Well, after a commercial break, they look back at what just happened with Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. Nia Jax versus Scarlett Bordeaux. We go to the ring. Out comes Nia Jax. Her opponent, indie star Scarlett Bordeaux, is at ringside with Charlie Caruso. She's wearing a Sasha Banks t-shirt and wishes Sasha, who inspired her, could be here to see her debut in her hometown. Bell rings and Nia goes right to work with a big kick. Nia destroys Charlotte and gets a big win with a Samoa drop. After the match, Nia takes a mic and tells Scarlett to choose a better role model next time. She drops a big leg drop and leaves as the music plays. There we get replays as Nia marches up the ramp and officials tend to Scarlett. Nia stares back at the ring before leaving. Bayley is backstage walking. Back to commercial. Back from that commercial break, Stephanie is shaking hands with Raw Women's Champion Charlotte Flair in her office. She leaves and in comes Jericho and Owens. They want to file a formal complaint against Mick Foley for the Royal Rumble Universal title match with the Shark Cage. This leads to Stephanie revealing Owens as the one who will face Reigns in tonight's main event. Stephanie leaves and Jericho doesn't seem thrilled about Owens getting the title shot. We go to the ring. Out comes Bayley. She takes a mic and comments on how much she loves Chicago. She mentions pinning Charlotte a third time and says she should be the number one contender now. Music interrupts and out comes Raw Women's Champion Charlotte. She apologizes for the interrupting Bayley's cosplay moment. Charlotte says Bayley didn't pin her last week and get a look back at the botched call by the referee. Charlotte says her lawyer talked to Stephanie last night, and they came to a settlement. Due to the referee's error, Bayley's win has been expunged from the record books. Charlotte entered the ring now. This led to Charlotte giving Bayley another shot tonight, but she revealed that the settlement also included Dana Brooke as a referee for this match. Dana comes out and Bayley looked worried. So we get Bayley versus Charlotte. You can smell the interference in this match all the way around. Dana made her way into the ring for this non-title match, and we go back to a commercial break. Back for that commercial break, we got the bell. Charlotte took advantage of Dana yelling at Bayley and goes to work. Charlotte with chops in the corner. Bayley turns around. Dana stops her. Dana and Bayley argue. Bayley nails Bayley to belly suplex, sending Dana out of the ring. Charlotte takes control of the distraction. In comes another referee. Bayley makes a comeback, and another referee has ran down. Bayley nails the 2 count. Charlotte turns it back around until Dana comes back in. The finish sees Dana allow Charlotte to get the pin with her feet on the ropes. But prior to that, there was a 3 count as Dana didn't even barely get back in to pull the referee off of the 3rd count. But that was a botch by either one of them. Call that. After the match, Charlotte and Dana taunt Bayley from the ramp. Stephanie walks off on Braun bullying a crew member backstage. The guy wouldn't tell him where Sami Zayn is. Stephanie says he needs to focus on Rollins, not to worry about Sami. Braun says he's multitasking. He wants Sami and Rollins. Stephanie can't produce Sami, but guarantees Braun a match for next week. Braun wants it to be a last man standing match, and Stephanie makes the match. Stephanie wants Braun to do something for her now, destroy Rollins and take everything out on him tonight. Braun laughs and walks off. And we get a look at last week's promo from Neville. So we got this week, Neville versus TJ Perkins. We go to ring, out comes Neville as JoJo makes the introduction. Back to commercial. Back to rank, Austin Aries is on commentary. TJ Perkins makes his way out. They meet in the middle of the ring, and we get the belt. No handshake. They go at it, and Perkins nails a knee early on for a 2 count. Neville ends up on the floor. Perkins nails a corkscrew and brings it back in. Perkins goes up top and comes down for a 2 count. Neville ends up turning it around and taking Perkins out to the floor. Neville brings it back in and keeps Perkins grounded with elbows. More back and forth action in and out of the ring. We get dueling chants for the crowd. Perkins catches Neville with a detonation kick. Neville blocks a knee bar and pins Perkins with a handful of tights for the win. After the match, we get replays before Charlie interviews Neville on the ramp about what's next. Neville says it's funny how everyone wants to talk to you after you leave a trail of bodies. Neville says Americans only want to talk to him when they're insulting him. Neville rails on Americans again and says it's our ignorance that has prevented us from enjoying him. Neville says he's going to beat the Cruiserweight champ Rich Swann on 205 Live tomorrow night because he's the true king of the Cruiserweights. Music hits and Neville makes his exit. Still to come segment, Reigns versus Owens in the main event. We're going to look back at Jinder Mahal and Rusev destroying Enzo Amore last week after his sensitivity training. We see a big Cass pushing Enzo in a wheelchair backstage. Back to commercial. Back from the ring, and out comes Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Enzo speaking from the wheelchair. Cuts a promo on Jinder Mahal and Rusev. Enzo then tells Cass he's batting cleanup because of the injury. Cass hits the ring and challenges Rusev to come out and try to do what he did to Enzo to Cass. Rusev comes out with Lana, but Jinder Mahal joins them. Cass waits in the ring, and Enzo looks on from ringside in his wheelchair. Jinder goes over and slaps Enzo before entering the ring. Rusev and Jinder look to double-team Cass. Enzo gets up from the chair and pulls Jinder off the apron. Cass takes advantage and unloads on Rusev, sending him back to the floor. Jinder ends up in Enzo's wheelchair. Enzo limps to the steel steps, and Cass launches him onto Jinder in the chair. Rusev tries to come back into the ring, but Cass stops him with a big boot. Rusev retreats with Lana and Enzo, and Cass celebrating in the ring. Another still to come segment, Braun versus Rollins, back to commercial. And then we got a tag team match, Shining Stars versus Bo Dallas and Darren Young. Don't think that tag team wouldn't last very long. Back for the break, we get Shining Stars come out. That's Darren Young, Bo Dallas, and Hall of Famer Bob Backlund are also out. Match begins, but Braun Strowman makes his way out. Braun swings the Christmas tree and takes out first victim at ringside. Braun destroys everyone and sends Young into Backlund at ringside. Braun then launches the steel steps and takes out Bo and the Shiny Stars at the same time. Fan chant, "Thank you, Strowman," as he stands tall as we get replays. The chants for Braun continues as we go to commercial. Then we get Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman up. Back for the break, Strowman is still in the ring. Seth Rollins is out next. Bell rings and Strowman takes Rollins right to the corner. Braun launches Rollins across the ring and yells out. Rollins counters and fights back, dumping Braun to the floor. Rollins then nails a suicide dive, but Braun is still standing. Rollins goes back in the corner for another dive, but Braun rushes in the ring and floors him with a shoulder tackle. Braun beats Rollins around in the ring. Rollins fights back and nails 2 springboard knees, but Braun is still standing. Braun cuts him off and puts him on the top rope, but runs into 2 boots, and then Rollins nails a big blockbuster, and Braun finally goes down. Braun blocks the pedigree and launches Seth over the top rope. Braun runs around the ring and runs over Rollins with his shoulder on the floor. Braun then tosses Rollins back in the ring, but Sami Zayn's music hits, and he's looking all around, expecting him to come from the back. Well, instead he comes through the crowd. And then Sami jumps off the steps instead. Well, winner by disqualification, Braun Strowman. After the bell, Sami unloads on Braun at ringside. Braun chases him away through the crowd and to the back. Rollins recovers in the ring and Chris Jericho runs in. Jericho leaves him laying with a code breaker. Referee checks on Rollins and warns Jericho. Jericho hits another code breaker before leaving as his music plays. Charlie Caruso backstage with Kevin Owens asking about his preparation for the main event. Owens says he tuned her out as soon as her mouth started making noise. He's very happy about what Jericho did to Rollins. Owens says Rollins is done, and that means there's no doubt we will have a new United States champion tonight. Owens and Jericho. Jericho walks up and says he took Rollins out for the night, which means Reigns is all alone for them to own him. Then own the WWE US title as well. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and we get another promo for Emma's return as Emmalina. That's like the sign at work says, "Free beer tomorrow." No actual return date yet. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Golden Truth is up next. Luke and Carl are already in the ring while Goldust and R-Truth come out. Goldust and Truth strike first and keep control of the match. The finish sees Anderson rolling Goldust up after Gallows distracts him from the apron. They also nail the Magic Killer for the win. Cruiserweight champion Rich Swann is walking backstage. We see Noam Dar talking to Dana Brooke off to the side. Back to commercial. Back for the break, and we get more hype for tomorrow's SmackDown with John Cena's return. Ariya Daivari versus Rich Swann. We go to ring. Ariya Daivari awaits as the Cruiserweight champion. Rich Swann makes his way out for a non-title match. AEW is back on commentary for this match. Daivari strikes first and keeps control until he misses the frog splash, allowing Swann to come back and get the pinfall. After the match, Charlie interviews Swann on the ramp. He calls Neville a sourpuss, but calls him one of the best in WWE. Swann says if Neville wants a fight on 205 Live, he's going to get it. Neville attacks out of nowhere and beats Swann down. Neville takes Swann to the ring and hits a red arrow to the back. Neville stands tall as his music hits. After the break, Ariya Daivari is backstage with Charlie. He calls Jack Gallagher a scoundrel. Gallagher walks up and gives him a chance to take it back. Ariya calls him a scoundrel again. Gallagher challenges Ariya to a duel. Gallagher ends up slapping Ariya with a glove before walking off. Then we get a video package of Bill Goldberg returning to the company. And we get the main event. U.S. title match, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. We go to the ring, out comes Universal Champion, Kevin Owens. Back to commercial. Back from the ring, out comes U.S. Champion, Roman Reigns to booze. We get formal ring introductions from JoJo. The bell rings and here we go. Owens stalls to start the match. They go to lock up, but Owens kicks Reigns and applies a headlock. Reigns ends up breaking it up and dropping Owens with a shoulder block. Owens goes to the floor for a breather. More stalling by Owens. Reigns comes out after him and nails a big right hand. Reigns rolls him back in, but Owens rocks him. Reigns fights back, but out comes Chris Jericho. Owens takes advantage of the distraction, gets a 2 count. Owens drops Reigns again for a 2 count. We got a commercial with Owens in control as Jericho cheers him on for ringside. Back from the break, Owens is still in control. Reigns turns it around and clotheslines, but Owens delivers a kick. Owens mocks Reigns in the corner and hits a corner cannonball for a 2 count. As Jericho watches from ringside, Owens keeps Reigns grounded with a headlock. Reigns looks to make a comeback, but Owens cuts him off and tosses him to the floor. Owens then launches Reigns into the barrier. Jericho taunts Reigns. Owens breaks the count, turns around to a drive-by. Reigns makes his comeback and brings it back in the ring. Reigns with a boot and a small drop for a 2 count. Owens ends up hitting a backstabber for a 2 count. As Reigns avoids a pop-up powerbomb, they trade shots. Reigns catches a kick and turns it around into a sit-down powerbomb for 2. Reigns readies for a Superman punch, but is blocked with a roll-up for a 2 count. Reigns with a Superman punch gets a 2 count. Reigns readies for a spear. With some fans booing, he rushes Jericho to scare him off the apron. Owens nails a codebreaker on Reigns for a close 2 count. Jericho is shocked at ringside. Seth Rollins runs down and brawls with Jericho at ringside. Rollins nails a pedigree on the floor. Owens comes out and super kicks Rollins. Owens goes back into the ring, but Reigns spears him for the win. Roman retains. After the match, Rollins watches from ringside as Reigns celebrates the win. Reigns' music stops, and in comes Rollins. Rollins throws a crotch chop. As you'll see in this video link from here on, is what happens after Raw. What goes on here with nothing but celebration after this combination stuff. He gets Owens and nails him with a pedigree. Reigns runs around the ring and spears Jericho on the floor. That's it for Reigns, as you won't see him in the video anymore. Reigns' music hits, and as Rollins is celebrating, as the fall, it officially went off the air at that point. But what happened afterwards was just nothing more than celebration from Seth Rollins, slapping the hands in the crowd with fans. Well, thanks again. See one of you. If you don't know, just call me, brothers and sisters.